that. One an April, with his shura sota, the drocht of March had parsa to the rota, and bad at every vine and switch the core, of which vertu unjondred is the floor. One Zephyrus equidus with a breath, in spirit had, in every halt and head, the tender croppers and the youngest sonne had in the rambs halve a coursey runner, and smaller fowlers, lack in melody, a sleeping on the night with open ee. So pricked him the tool in her courageous, than longing folk to go and pilgrim ashes. So beginneth the book of the Talls of Canterbury, and so too begins my book, so pricked him the tool in her courageous. Which if you ask Brian Baker what that means, he'll tell you that when spring comes, nature's going to make you do what you got to do. Whether you're girl or flower, boy or tree, bird or bee, with me it was reading. So this is called, so pricked him the tool in her courageous. Never did help my dad enough. Always head stuck in a book. Dónall, son, he called. Can you hold this while I saw? Oh, Dad, will. Me lost in Chaucer and his tale. And so the saw saws. But all I hear is, yo, the miller was a chap of 16 stone, and great stout fellow big and broad and bone. The saw cuts through the afternoon, pauses then, Chaucer's on again. He did well of it, for he could go and win the ram at any wrestling show. Say what? Don't get me wrong. I adore the aesthetic beauty of sawdust floating in a universe of its own, suspended in sunlight and shadow. The smell of pine kidnapping my mind, the dance of the bubble in a spirit level. Didn't have time for all that hammering and sawing. I was a boy on a mission ever since our teacher saying, I don't know why I teach you scruff Chaucer, you'll never read the book. But by the weekend, furious at the rebuff, I had. My poor old dad only getting begrudging help. One at April, the words falling like gentle rain upon my mind, with his shura sota, the drocht of March, words, oh sweet words, had passed to the rota, my mind, bad at every vine and switch liqueur, of which vertu, the dance of the bubble in the spirit level, perfectly poised perfectly, ungendered, is the floor. Thank you. I used to be a primary teacher, a secondary teacher, and every kind of teacher, university teacher. When you go in as agency, there is often not work set aside for you. And you've got 30 plus children in the class, and you think, what am I going to do? So you ask them, and you say, okay guys, what did you do last week? And they say, we don't know. And you go, what did you do the week before? We don't know. Because if they tell you, you're going to make them do more of the stuff they don't want to do. And I said, oh, come on guys, what did you do? And they all remain just as mute as Brian Baker there, refusing to say anything. Guy at the back says, please sir, we did that. The spinach armada. And I go, the spinach armada, eh? Right. What you do the day before that? Silence again. The Brian Baker silence. And then the guy at the back says, please sir, I love cleavage. And I think, I'm not even going to go there. And I was finding it very difficult this day. And I went into the next class, and everybody was talking in pirate language. Oh, are this, oh, are that. And we're miles away from National Pirate Day. It was actually National Crime Day, which I always turn up for. And so I was having the board and I was going, so as you can see, the square on the hypotenuse is equal to, what? Yes? Oh, sir, but would that be Pythagoras' theorem? And I thought, right, this is getting out of hand. So I said, oh, so it is. As you can see, the sails on the good ship Pythagoras is equal to some of the sails on the other two ships. And then they shut up because they thought, all right. So this is called Now We Are 60, because I brought out the book for my 60th birthday, and so it goes like this. A year 8 child inquires, how old I be? I be just 60. He gasps, you're very active for 60. 60 for him is a distant planet in a galaxy far, far from here. Nay, another dimension. I smile my 60-year-old smile perfected by now. I am Starlight that will only reach him when he himself is 60. if he ever remembers what he has long ago forgotten. Thank you. It's the title of the book, Jerry Sweeney's Mammy. When I was a little fella, no bigger than my own knee, I had no idea of sex or how babies are made or anything like that. Jan is busily filling me in on all the details. I'm catching up, Jan, haven't I?
You are.
Yeah? And I thought that a chap could have 3 mammies. So I had my own lovely mother, Lisa Dempsey. I had Mrs. Sweeney up the road. And I had my Auntie Mary down in Cork. And my definition of a mammy wasn't a biological one, it was an emotional one. So that, anybody who loved you to that great nth degree must be a mammy. So I thought Mrs. Sweeney was my mammy as well. By that definition, my father was the best mammy I ever had as well. So this is called, my mother had to take me aside and say, Jerry Sweeney's mammy is not your mammy, don't you? And I was going, what? That can't be. So this is called Jerry Sweeney's mammy. Mrs. Sweeney was Jerry Sweeney's mammy. And even though I had my own, I had her on loan. It was like having a spare mammy. And even when she was mad with us, she just couldn't be mad with us. Go on, she'd grin, go on. You'd wear the heart out of a stone. And if you fell and you was crying, your heart and knee badly grazed or badly bitten by a bee, she would hug you up with all of herself. Come here to me, you poor little dote. Wrap you up in so much love it would last for years. For years. Jerry Sweeney was my best friend ever. Way back in the way back then. Still is. Nothing's changed. Except us young fellas have become old fellas who still think they're young fellas. And every time I see him, I could almost cry. I can still see his mammy smiling out of his eyes. Thank you. My dad gave me, I'm dyslexic, highly toxic dyslexic, so everything I learned, every song, every poem I heard was my dad or my sister talking to me. Some things I had to wait 40 years to actually see in a physical text in a book. So if you get to Eugene Field's The Little Boy Blue, where it's a weepy Victorian poem, he tells his ties, don't you stay there until I come in the morning. He dies, the angels take him, but the ties stay there, covered in dust, waiting for the little boy blue to come. The only other time I heard that was my sister, cuddled into my sister, I was about 5, and I'm cuddled up into her neck like that, and she's saying it, and her breath is the text. It disturbs my curls, and she goes, time was when the little boy blew. And I never seen that for 40 years. I opened up a book, there it was, and I just started crying. I thought, my God. So sometimes a text is somebody's breath, that time, that particular time. My Uncle Michael was that for me too. If my dad gave me the love of literature, my Uncle Michael was the man responsible for me creating it. So this is called, a thin slice of ham in the hand is better than a fat pig in a dream. Never bolt your door with a boiled cat. As Uncle would say with a wink, tongue in cheek. It didn't make any sense as our door was always open. We never knew it locked. And I liked my carrots raw and stolen, plucked from my father's little plot. He perplexed by his little human rabbits, his mud-caked boots standing amazed as we hid, holding our breaths amongst the flowering cur pinks. But pale poets and pigs are only appreciated after the death, as they say, whoever they are. But as I always say, don't be after breaking your shin on a stool that isn't there. Thank you. This is the smell of purple. We launched this in New Delhi, of all places. And Indian people seem to like it a lot. This is called Mr. Daddy Soft Soft. Always her fascination with me shaving. This, her early morning ritual, observing each act and action as if it were holy. I hide my face in foam. Santa Claus, she chants. Winces with delight as the razor she gulps goes over my bump without gasp slicing it off. The shaving uncovers the me she knows. Soft, soft, Mr. Daddy, soft, soft, she gurgles in a ladder of laughter. Me now me, she pleads with me. I take the brush, Coat her reflection with foam. I shave her with the tip of my little finger. Her reflection sniggers and she sniggers too. Later in the early evening she appears, bearded in fresh cream. She shaves herself with a lollipop stick. Me daddy now, see? I cha-cha-cha her on the tips of my toes as she clings to my fingertips. The living room dances around us. One delighted, half-shaved little girl. One delighted, soft Mr. Daddy. Thank you. And the title of the poem, she came in one day and she just said this. It's called The Smell of Purple. She says she can smell yellow. She says she can smell blue, despite not being able to spell either colour. Yellow smells the same as blue, like a wet kitty drying by the fire. Red smells like Mummy when she kisses. Her kisses smell different when she kisses you. Then she smells like flames with little orange tips. Purple is my favourite smell. It smells just like a magic spell. I kiss her goodnight like lilac, only lighter, with little flecks of purple scattered here and there. Thank you. Tilly, at the age of 4, would invariably come into our bed in the early hours of the morning and jump upon our masked male and female flesh. We were just a mountainous mass of flesh to her. And if you're asleep and this happens, the weight, she was a pudgy little girl, and the weight of a little girl actually dive bombing into your bed on top of you, she will hit inappropriate male and female parts, and you wake up very quickly again. This has got nothing to do with that. We were at a cocktail party, darling, and we were very, very hungover. Tilly is still going to come in and jump all over us. So this is called I Feel Pretty. Oh, so pretty. I wake, covered in glorious glitter, smelling strongly of Previa glue, sticking to my cheek, very hung over, and covered in blue, orange, yellow, red feathers. A bubble recently blown, perched upon my nose, I still half comatose. Tiny bubbles travel amongst my curls, as through a bigger bubble brightly, nestling neatly over my right eye, I observe my tiny daughter purse her lips and kiss more bubbles into being. Tilly, I force my lips, still frozen in sleep, to somehow speak. What you do? See, even my syntax and sentence structuring is shot. She smiles sweetly, I'm prettying you. Thank you. And this is called I is smiling. Everything always is I is. As in, I is happy. I is tired. Even just to negate it, it is I is not tired. I is not go to bed. With Churchillian scowl and foot stamp for emphasis. I used to love her construction, the simple syntax of her sentences. Tilly and Mummy is girl? Dónall is not girl? Now I is remembering you just as you was. Recall your words just as they is. And I is smiling. Thank you. This is called being dragged across the carpet by the cat. I'm sure you've all experienced that one time or another. My friend was dying. She had one breast cut off, she had another breast cut off, she had a terrible death. And before she died, she got a little kitten. It was a thunderstorm and the kitten was locked out in the thunderstorm. And we had her ashes up on top of the mantelpiece. And the kitten jumps into the window, knocks over the urn, and there I am sweeping up my friend. Little paw prints of the cat. So that's how you can be dragged across the carpet by the cat. Just in case you think it's a made-up title. This is called Me Man's Mind. If you fall off that wall and break both your legs, don't come running to me. Could never understand me mum's mind and how it worked. One moment she had half a mind to come up there and get me off that wall. Then she was in two minds about whether to tell me to stop. Go ahead and kill yourself. See if I care. I'm warning you, child, if you fall off that wall and kill yourself, I'll personally come up there and murder you myself, so I will. I used to watch the words climbing out of her mouth and fly around the room looking for a place to land in my mind. Never cared whether she gave out. I just loved everything she said, the music of her and how she made the words behave. I came down and kissed her worry away. I'm sorry, ma'am, I told her, and she cried. I think that was the first time I ever grew up and I understood somebody else's pain and despair. There's a go my mother's hands. My mother's hands, washing potatoes, washing kids, washing pans. My mother's hands on bitterly cold days, pegging yet more washing on a pregnant line. The line growing nothing but nappies, her hands blind with the cold. My mother's hands ironing clothes, ironing countless knickers for my 7 sisters. My mother's hands taking my hands in hers, such love, such laughter. My mother's hands patting talcum powder on yet another baby's bum. Mum being mum. Me kissing my mother's hands for all the time. Thank you. And finally, this is a poem called, it's died. It's called Oscailga, which is Brian Baker can tell you because he's a native Irish speaker, means in Irish. Isn't that right, Brian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, say oh yeah. In Irish. So I will explain the Irish as I go along. My wife and I were having great fun practicing having a baby, but as yet no baby had materialised. And we went for test after the test, and we were still no nearer. Probably too much information, Brian, but there was one last test to see whether the ovarian tubes were open, and we were going to go for that. It was cancelled. And when cancellation happens, it means 6 months wait. Again, 6 months wait. And we got fed up and we got pregnant by ourselves, okay? Notice I used the royal we got pregnant. So I used to lie down by her belly and she was Finnish, and I used to sing all the Irish songs. I don't know much Irish. I used to sing all the Irish songs to her, all Irish phrases to this baby. It's called Oscailga. Doon the Sula, close your eyes. Cuddle galaw my grosive. Sleep until day, my gentle love. Cuddle gasov. Sleep peacefully, peacefully. My rogue and Gaelic shah is rocking on green shafi. This moon will rise, this sun will set. Aragus gra I goni, care and love always. Gach ihas, gach laws, gach iha. Every night, every day, every night. My plurine, my storine, my moorine, my little flower, my little treasure, my little darling. Achanish, but now, cuddle gasov gasiv. Sleep peacefully, gently, go fáinne and lay, until the break of day. The Misha or the Tave, with me by your side. Losing our baby late into the night, holding this little thing that only attempted to be human, unable to let go, I clasped the fetus tightly in my hand and buried it in the dawn of our local park, under a recently planted red rose bush. In my grief, flower and baby became one, and night after night I climbed over high railings and even higher stars to talk to her in the dark in Irish, or sing my love is like a red, red rose, or cry. Almost got arrested one night by an Irish cop, drawn to the sound of Irish emerging from the darkness. Guess he let me go because it wouldn't look good on a charge sheet. The defendant was talking and crying to a flower in Irish. Éist, listen. Dinna éigean na cíne. Someone is crying in a darkasan, in his darkness. Phil, Aruno, oh, Phil Aruno is na imium. Philarum a cúisle stó, ó, agus sific tú an clór.